Good afternoon. I like this item. My job is to introduce you to the new home of the navigators of South Africa. That's exciting. I would like the slide up there. In 2007, our then National Director, Manfred Mulomu, saw a repossessed property in Kempton Park, and he led us as a ministry to buy it. It was going for 675,000 rands. And the vision was that we are going to remodel it into a national ministry center where we will have our offices, the boardroom, even a guest house, and this and that. So we bought it. That's the property when we bought it. But then because we were still owing the bank, we couldn't occupy it. We had to get a tenant to service the bond. So in 2015, we approached Bruce Van Wyk. We said, we have got this property, we are owing about 400,000. Will you please help us raise funds to settle the bond? And Bruce eloquently said, no. He said, you first raise the funds in South Africa. Bruce is from the US. Then when you have settled the bond, I will help you raise the funds to remodel it into the National Ministry Center. Now, you heard Dave Dunn talking about Steve Cox. Did you hear that? So during that time, we approached Dave Gresham in the US, and we said, okay, we've got this challenge. We must raise funds from South Africa. We must settle this bond before Bruce Van Wyk can move into action. Can you coach us about raising major funding? So Dave Gresham coached us, and I went around talking to people that we thought are potential major donors. So I happened to speak to Chris Cox, the younger brother of Steve Cox, and I said, you know, we don't even have an office right now. And Chris said, oh, we can do something about that. I'll talk to my brother. So he went and he spoke to Steve Cox, and they offered us space, office space for free. Do you hear that? Office space for free in Johannesburg. It's not like renting accommodation. Office space is very expensive. So then we launched. We invited a number of families to dinner in 2015. And so we explained what we want to achieve. And the debt was still sitting around 400,000 rands. And by God's grace, the bond was settled by 11 families. Only 11 families. And then I got the bank statement, sent it to Bruce, and said, there is the zero balance. That was 2017 February. Then in February this year, we started the construction of the National Ministry Center. And it got completed mid-July this year. What a timing. I would like the video to show this new home of the navigators of South Africa. Isn't that beautiful? Now, that center has got the offices of the navigators. First is the main house that we are renting out. We're getting money from it. And then we have got the offices of the navigators. We've got the boardroom that we'll also use as the resource room to store the materials of the navigators, and also as a training room. We also have a flat there that we are also renting out. And we also have got a guest house, where if you are visiting and you want a few nights to sleep at, we can offer you accommodation. We are just a few minutes away from the international airport. So that's what you find there at the National Ministry Center. So last week, Saturday, Bruce and Mark Van Wyk had the privilege, the honor, to officially open the premises. That's the ribbon cutting ceremony, which happened last week, Saturday. Now, you may be asking yourself, how do the navigators fund the ministry or fund themselves? Now, there is no pot of gold sitting somewhere. We are funded the same way God's work was funded in history. When you check from the Old Testament and up to the New Testament, God's people giving financial resources or giving resources towards God's work. In Haggai 2 verse 8, God says, "The silver is mine and the gold is mine." That means the money that God has put under your control belongs to God. And God, out of that money that He made you a steward of, there is a portion that He wants you to commit to support His work. And now you have a challenge to prayerfully find out what that portion is, how much God wants you to set aside for His work. And once you have come to that determination, you have to also make a prayerful determination of how much does God want me from this portion. How much does He want me to give to the navigators, to give to my church, to give to charity, to give to this and that? So that's the challenge you have. And we will come to you and ask, and you'll have a challenge of going to the Lord to find out how much He wants you to give to the navigators. Now, in your folders, please pull out your folders. There is a pledge. There is a pledge. Something that looks like it has got some financial figures on top. Have you found it, please? I want you to raise it. I really need you to find it now, please. Have you found it? Anyone who has found it, please raise it. Okay, some have found it. Help somebody next to you to get it quickly. Good. In the navigators, we have got full-time staff who are supported by financial gifts coming from God's people. Now, these people have to be supported monthly because there are monthly bills. Are you still with me? It sounds silent now. Myself and my wife, Tiny, we are full-time. So our income comes from gifts. Chair and Mama Haldi, the leaders in the VAL, let me ask them to stand up quickly. Chair and Mama Haldi, wherever you are, stand up. Yes, they are supported by God's people. We have got Felix and Messi Koimburi. They are in Mozambique on our behalf. Can you quickly stand up, please? Felix, there is Felix. And I'll ask Uncle Udobong and Auntie Getty to stand up quickly so you can recall them. They are full-time. And Uncle Chris and Auntie Chi, there they are. Is Coco here, our full-time administrator, or is she still outside? Okay, you have met her outside. So what we need you to do is to look at this pledge and decide who or what you are going to support. And put a figure there. There are three ranges, 150 to 250, 350 to 450, 500 plus. So you tick there which range you want to support it, and put the actual figure there where it says my financial commitment of so much. You write it down there, and tick to indicate whether it will be monthly or quarterly or semi-annually or annually or once off. And then put your details there. We will appreciate it if you do it now at this conference. If you want to pray about it, there is a tea break. You can pray during that time. You can pray during that time and then come and tick and leave your details here. And go and leave this pledge with the administrator in the foyer. Now, if you feel no, you need more time to pray, maybe you didn't come with your spouse, you need to go back home and consult, that is fine. You go and please do that. On your folder, there is an address of the navigators. After you have done that, you put it in an envelope and mail it to us. Is that okay? Hello? The work of the Lord is supported by God's people, setting aside a portion of the resources God puts under their control to support God's work. God bless you. Thank you very much.